Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa for your daily updates from the continent here on France 24. I'm Samuel Nja'kwa. Let's take a look at the headlines making news. Courts in Guinea are paralyzed after lawyers embark on a nationwide strike protesting against arbitrary arrests and secret detentions by the country's ruling military. Then there's a buzz in the air in the south of France as the small southern village Miramas hosts Kenya's medal hopeful athletes ahead of the Olympic Games in Paris. And our reporters witness Soul Makossa Man, a unique exhibition in Yaoundé, Cameroon, paying homage to the country's late great saxophonist Manu Dibango. His contemporary Samuel Nja'kwa, who set up the exhibition, has also written a book with an immersive dive into Dibango's life. Welcome again to Eye on Africa. Guinean lawyers on Wednesday continued their two-week strike over arbitrary citizen arrests. The strike is the latest sign of growing outrage over the detention of two prominent activists campaigning for a return to democratic rule, with Guinea's courts set to be paralyzed in the interim. The strike is also expected to last until the very last minute of July 31st. That's the day a court in Conakry is due to hand a verdict on Guinea's former dictator Moussa Dadis Camara over alleged crimes against humanity. Worries have now emerged that the strike could disrupt proceedings, but lawyers have sounded the alarm over the importance of raising awareness, with opposition voices largely stifled since Alpha Condé seized power in 2021. Take a listen.
Citizens are victims of extrajudiciary arrests and detentions by agents wearing balaclavas who have no warrant and who arrive without any preliminary warning. Starting today, we are observing a total boycott of all court hearings nationwide.
It's the news in Guinea. Let's turn to something in the center of Africa. According to the first-round legislative elections in Rwanda, the coalition of President Paul Kagame's party, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, has remained the majority with over 62% of the vote. That's 33 out of 53 seats. And the result has been met with little surprise, given that Kagame himself won the presidential vote with 99%. The only raised eyebrows that there is such a large discrepancy between his own numbers and that of his party. Elsewhere, the Liberal Party received about 11%. The Social Democratic Party managed to get 9%. The two non-coalition and allied groups, PS Imberakuri and the Democratic Green Party, finished with just over 5% each, and that meets the minimum threshold for seats in parliament. Rwanda's Electoral Commission has not yet provided a breakdown of the number of MPs per political party, but the composition of Rwanda's assembly is likely to change very little compared to 2018. Back to news now in Ghana. The country's Supreme Court on Wednesday deferred its ruling on a request to restrain Parliament from transmitting a highly contested anti-LGBTQ bill to President Nana Akufo-Addo. The ruling basically means that debate around the bill, which has dominated Ghana's political discourse since Parliament passed it in February, will be sidelined from the campaign for December's presidential election race. Our Ghana correspondent Justice Baidu was in court.
The five-member panel that sat on Wednesday unanimously deferred judgment on the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. The judges said that there would be a judgment once the bill's constitutionality has been determined.
The country ought to know that we're a country governed by a constitution. The constitution that prevails over everyone. We're all under the constitution and the laws of Ghana. And therefore, the actions of every person must be determined within the premises of the law.
Such a unified approach will further provide context and clarity, and also afford a clearer understanding of the issues raised in this interlocutory matter and their impact on the main suit.
Two citizens have filed processes at the Supreme Court seeking to stop Parliament from sending this bill to the presidency for signature. But it seems that it is a very, very popular bill across the country. It would prove also to be a very critical part of the campaign process that will lead up to an election that is going to happen at the end of this year. The two frontrunners in that election have both said they are against granting LGBTQ rights. The Chief Justice says that the court would expedite the ruling on this matter, but fell short of specifically saying when this would happen.
That's Justice Baidu reporting there from Accra, Ghana. In its latest report, the United Nations warns deforestation in the DRC has been pushed to unprecedented levels by the country's ongoing security crisis. As unlicensed logging by displaced communities places growing pressure on forests and national parks, Laurent Beshteka has this story.
In the town of Kibati in eastern DRC, this improvised open-air market is buzzing with activity. Residents displaced by the conflict in North Kivu have come here to sell the only thing they can, massive bags of charcoal.
I'm here because we're starving in the camp. We decided to produce charcoal in order to feed our children.
2 years into an armed insurgency by M23 rebels, the DRC's forests have become a major source of sustenance for over 1 million people displaced by the conflict. A situation that's become a major driver of deforestation in recent years, including in the protected national park of Virunga. Every morning, families enter its forests to chop wood for charcoal or in order to make planks, and the area's once vibrant greenery now resembles an arid shrubland dotted with hacked-up tree stumps. In its latest report, the UN warns forest loss in the territory has reached unprecedented levels since 2021. Conservationists also point to the M23's occupation of parts of Virunga, which is preventing rangers from effectively protecting the park.
We live because of this park. So when we see that the park is being decimated, it breaks our hearts. And today we estimate that only around 20 square kilometers of forest remain in the southern sector.
Data by the Global Forest Watch Initiative shows a tree cover loss of around 7,000 hectares a year in Virunga National Park since the start of the M23 insurgency.
More positive news. The Olympic Games are just 9 days away, but it's not just in Paris where the sporting fever has gripped the country. There's a buzz in the air in Miramas, in France's south, and the site of Kenya's delegation training camp. Locals say it's an honor to host the prestigious athletes, with many primed for medals. Verika Bahal and our colleagues at France 2 serve up some of the atmosphere.
Small steps all the way.
A very special pupil has slipped into this running club.
5, 4, ready, up.
Kenyan sprinter Ferdinand Omanyala specializes in the 100 meters. And for one morning, he trained with local residents in Miramas in the south of France.
It's a pleasure to share this with a high-level athlete who could win an Olympic medal. So to have a class like this is super.
C'est super. La technique is good.
La technique est super bien.
In honor of his specialty, there was even a 100-meter sprint with the 9th fastest man of all time. Despite having trained in Miramas for years, it's his first time running with the townspeople.
Miramas is home, and anytime I'm called upon to do anything, I always feel very, very happy and proud to be part of it. So I felt nice.
In true sporting spirit, the town has decked itself out in Kenya's colours. Miramas is home to the delegation's training camp before the Olympics begin, with over 80 athletes present. And residents say it's a privilege to host them.
I love it. It shows that we're an important town.
We're happy to welcome them, and it gives them good training conditions.
It decentralizes things a bit outside of Paris.
In order to acclimate and have the best conditions, Kenya's rugby team was the first to arrive.
The facilities here are top-notch, they are world-class, so we are very happy to be here, and we think being here it will give us an opportunity to perform well in the Olympics.
Team Kenya can also count on a dedicated fan club, with the local children's choir learning a special hymn just for them.
And good luck to those athletes in the Olympics. And finally, Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, recently held a photographic exhibition paying tribute to famous saxophonist Manu Dibango, who died of COVID in 2020. The exhibition, Soul Makossa Man, was brought to life by journalist and photographer Samuel Nja'kwa, who moved around with the late artist for about 20 years. Samuel Nja'kwa also authored a large book which pays homage to Dibango. Our correspondents in Yaoundé went to go see the exhibition.
As visitors enter the former presidential palace in Yaoundé, they are met with a portrait of Manu Dibango's signature broad smile. a welcome that sets the mood at this exhibition in honor of the late saxophonist.
Among all the photos I looked at, it was this one that really made Manu Dibango's personality clearer.
The showcase, dubbed So Makossa Man, was organized by Cameroonian photographer Samuel Nja'kwa, who worked with Manu Dibango for about 20 years. The pair were also firm friends.
This is not Manu Dibango's retrospective. It's really a meeting between a musician and a photographer. It's very important because it's a work of memory for me.
The event spotlights many facets of the musician's life. Set designer Aliou Moussa has made the scene come alive to reflect the warmth and welcome for which Manu Dibango was famous.
We have the central photograph of Manu and also all the collaborations. All these artists with whom he collaborated, which for me also brings this aspect of sharing to the exhibition.
Many visitors stopping by at the exhibition are happy to revisit Manu's life through pictures. There was also a guest appearance at the event, New York-based Cameroonian jazz musician Gino Sitson. He played alongside Uncle Manu, like he affectionately called him, in the early 2000s.
He was someone who made us dance, who mentored us. Manu was not just a musician, he was someone who had the science of life.
On the sidelines of the exhibition, Samuel Nja'kwa paid tribute to the famous saxophonist through a 472-page book supported by the French Institute of Yaoundé. In the book, we are told Manu Dibango was a unifier.
You know, we're in a society today with people who want to burn bridges so much, who refuse to build relationships, links. Well, Manu Dibango was a unifier.
The photographic exhibition, So Makossa Man, dedicated to Manu Dibango, who died in March 24, 2020, in the midst of the COVID-19 epidemic, ends on August 25.
Well, that's all from the continent this Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you for more here on France 24.
Special event.
During the Paris Olympics, a special programming on France 24.
In France in Focus, we put the spotlight on former French Olympic and Paralympic champions.
In Arts 24, we take a look at the cultural side of the Olympics.
In the 51%, we question whether the struggle for equality in sports is being achieved.
In Down to Earth, we analyse the competition's carbon footprint.
And in Access Asia, our teams look back at the Asian cities that have hosted the Olympics in the past.
With France 24, keep up with the world's biggest sporting event.
France in Focus.
Arts 24.
The 51%.
Down to Earth.
Access Asia. On France 24.